This guy was a communicator. He had a high standard. He put it in writing. He said it. He held us accountable. And man, this guy was a general. And so today, his leadership is spreading to you.
Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo.
How to lead others like a seasoned general, even if you are brand new. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and I want to welcome you to the podcast today. If you have not been to our site, I've got a blueprint for you. This is called the Wholesaling Map, the Massive Action Plan. And what this is a step-by-step plan for you to do your first or next deal, even if you have no idea what you're doing and you are kind of scratching and clawing trying to get that first check, or if you've done a few deals or have been successful, but you're just trying to get to that next level where your business can throw off cash consistently month after month after month, and you want it to kind of spit off cash without your personal day-to-day involvement. The map, this blueprint, will get you there. This is my gift to you. Head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download the map today. Man, I can tell you what, leading others has been one of the greatest gifts of my entrepreneurial journey. And I can tell you what is, if you do this correctly, it will be the greatest gift of yours. Now, you may think that this does not apply to you because you are brand new. Or maybe you've had some employees or a team member, or you've dealt with vendors or contractors, and you're like, yeah, I kind of know this, but this is too far advanced for me. I'm telling you this right now. People have been the single most predictor of success in business for me. And if you do this, I guarantee it will change the game for you. I did another podcast a few podcasts ago about how to really hire a great right-hand man or woman, but I'm going to give you specific tips on how to deal with people, whether it's a right-hand man or a right-hand woman, and or if it's a contractor or a real estate agent or a title or escrow agent, or even if maybe you're working with your spouse in your business. I'm going to tell you that this is going to correlate directly into more money in your pocket with less stress and less time, and you're going to start to have a business that's going to build some roots. Without people, you are nothing. Nobody can succeed alone. Show me a solopreneur who's been in this business for a year, and I'll show you somebody who is basically at the same place they were at a year ago, right? They're stressed out. They're doing the work. They may be making money, but I tell you what, you are going to be on a treadmill and you're going to tire out. And so you need people to succeed. Anything great or amazing is built with the help of other people. So it's time for you to rise and become a general. Now, who do you lead? Well, I can tell you what, every day you lead your family. Okay, you lead your friends, you lead the people around you. You have your joint venture partners, your virtual assistants, your real estate agents, your contractors. Hopefully you're not dealing with too many of those, right? Your employees, if you have any. All right, so you are a leader, you are a general. The question is, how are you leading? And how is the lack thereof affecting your bank account? I'm going to give you some easy tools today that is immediately going to raise your income and your bank account. So first step to becoming a real general, like Maximus in Gladiator, if you've ever seen that movie, the best movie ever in the history of mankind, is number one, get crystal clear on what you want for the business, for the project, for the deal, right? The relationship. Get crystal clear, right? Get the noise out. Spend 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever said project is, write it down. Get clear. That's half the battle. Write it down in detail. Number 2, you've got to communicate. Got to communicate. And when you're communicating with people, you want to communicate so much that you think it's overkill, right? At least initially. Right? Some people say, I don't want to micromanage. Fine. If you communicate really, 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 really well, that's when you don't have to micromanage, right? The problem is that when you don't explain what you really want, you don't build that vision, people are just guessing. And now you're going to have to micromanage people, which is brutal. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you have a project, you're trying to delegate something, you're trying to communicate to a real estate agent or your title company or your lawyer, right? What I want you to do, something that's going to require some delegation where you get out of the way, which I'm a big, big fan of, is I want you to put it in writing exactly what you want in detail. And then what I want you to do is record yourself on a video or a Loom, which by the way, big fan of Loom. Check out Loom. You can send an email, but also record yourself kind of talking about the email. So right from there, you can hit record and it'll automatically just shoot it in the email without any kind of like uploading or anything. Super fast. Love that tool. And then have a conversation about that in writing and answer any questions. So number one is put it in writing. Number two, record a video explaining what you put in writing. And then number three is have a discussion about what you put in video and in writing, right? And answer any questions. And now you are very, very, very clear. Okay. Now, once you delegate this, you want to follow up with your team at regular scheduled intervals, right? So if this project's going to take a month, say we'll talk at Friday at 2, week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. Very, very, very important. By the way, if you want to eliminate extra meetings, say, hey, follow up with me by email or Loom, right? Once a week, and you can eliminate that conversation. So that's another little hack there. All right. Now you may say, Todd, I don't want to do this all the time. Fine. I get that. Right. But this initial stage of when you are delegating to someone, this is really, really important, is that over communication is going to free you later. Now, once someone has proven themselves over and over and over and over again on certain tasks, right, you can trust and you can completely let go. But this empowerment and giving people clear instructions and giving them the tools, right, not necessarily the how, right, but the tools to do it and the clear direction on the outcome will set you free. So you could definitely trust. But again, after that trust is proven, right? Very, very, very important. Okay. Now, if you are having problems with somebody in your business, the one of the things that I love to do is, let's say something isn't getting done or things are slipping through the cracks. I always like to look at myself first. And I teach my leaders to look at themselves first and say, hey, are you communicating effectively, right? How did you communicate this project? What was the deadline? You know, let's say that you're waiting for something and you're like, oh, it's taking forever. Well, did you actually communicate that this was due in a week, right? Did you say this is a hard deadline of this week? And then did you throw them 15 other things that same week and give no clear priority of which was really, really, really important? I think we're all guilty of that, dealing with, you know, our right hand men and women. So be very, very, very clear on that. You know, I could tell you that we recently had an instance in our business where we have a rock star acquisition specialist, and he was getting very frustrated with somebody on our team because things in disposition, right, how we sell our properties, weren't going smoothly, right? He's like, things are slipping through the cracks. This didn't get done. That didn't get done. And I look back, and we look back in our CRM, right, our custom relationship manager, or Podio, and I say, okay, well, how did you communicate to this team member what needed to get done and how? And he said to me, well, I told her on the phone. I said, hey, that is not good enough, right? I said, how many conversations are you having a day with her? And he says, oh, a lot. I said, okay. I said, could anything have been lost in translation, right? Could you have said something one way and she heard another? Because I could tell you with me, right, I always take the blame first. When I'm telling someone something, sometimes they hear it differently than I say it. And so when I really, really need a project done, I write it down in detail, I make a video, and then I also have a follow-up conversation to make sure it's crystal clear. I said, for us, we've all agreed that everything's going to be in Podio in painstaking detail. And so if you do that, then evaluate. Okay. Long story short, came back to me a couple weeks later, same issue was happening. I said, hey, are you really, really clearly stating out what your outcome is and what needs to happen? Well, no, but I talked to her. I said, no, I don't want to hear it. Right. So I want you to really commit to just documenting this, right? So that you don't have to deal with this and fully empower this person to get it done. Long story short, he committed to the process. Problem solved, right? He now can fully let go and trust that these items can be handled because his communication went to another level up front. Now, you may think, this sounds like a headache. Well, I could tell you what, whenever you're doing something great, right, there's a lot of moving parts and you've got a lot of headaches. But I can tell you that every minute that you invest upfront in a project or a person or communication, you're probably going to save 30 minutes to an hour. I'm going to repeat that. For every minute that you invest in upfront communication, whether it's writing or it's video or a really good follow-up conversation to one of those those two suggestions, you're going to save an hour in little things that happen. I've seen in our own business. Oh, well, the locksmith didn't show up, or, the utilities got shut off, or the tenant's post-occupancy agreement didn't get signed, right? All these little things that you'll see happen in the business where now all of a sudden these emergency phone calls have to happen back and forth, which are soul-sucking. So if you do these things up front, which take time and are painful, it's discipline, right? You're going to save yourself hours. I promise you. All right. Now, here's a pitfall is that once we communicate, right, I think we tend to get lazy in accountability. So if you are a general, is you do not want to get lazy in communication with your team. So once you communicate, right, you have to inspect what you expect. So once you lay this out, have regular intervals where they keep you updated, right, whether by email or within your CRM, your customer relationship management software, right? We use Podio, right? So, and by the way, I recommend a few others for beginning investors, but that's just what we use today. And so it's really, really important that you inspect and that your people know, right, that you're for them succeeding, right? That you want them to succeed, you want them to do great in their job, and that you're checking up on them only because you want them to do awesome. Now, again, we don't do this, right? Because it takes time and we feel like it's painful and we don't want to do it, right? And I understand that, but remember, this is an investment. It's compound interest. So you invest a minute today, you get an hour back later. The back and forth, the mistakes, the misunderstanding, the budget overruns, right? And also a general respect of, being on top of things, right? The team is going to just run so much smoother if you just get more strategic as a business owner. I want you to avoid running around like a hare caught on fire. The funny thing is, right, is that if you are an ineffective leader, an ineffective general, and you are communicating poorly, having a team is more work than not having a team. So you'll see many people say, that's it, forget it. I don't want a team member. I just want to do this all by myself. By the way, if you are guilty of this, right, say I, right? I could tell you what, at one point when I first got started and my communication skills weren't there and my leading wasn't there were points where I'm like, hey, I want to do everything myself. I want to fire everybody, right? And you do not want to go there, right? You want to be a leader. You want people around you. You want to get to that next level. You want that compound interest to grow and really expand outside of you. Now, let me tell you about a tale of two teachers. Okay. I had a teacher at one point. His name was Mr. Sullivan. And Mr. Sullivan was very lackadaisical, right? We'd go to his classroom. We'd show up late when we wanted to. Sometimes he would check up on our homework. And sometimes he didn't, right? Most of the time he didn't. And I could tell you when the bell rang for school at, I think it was 7:45 every day, maybe it was 7:15, who knows? High school was a while ago. But kids were coming in and out and he was just there, right? And I could tell you that the students in his classroom probably remembered very little of what he taught about U.S. governments, right? I'm surprised they even knew it was about U.S. government, right? Just not a very good leader, right? He was not forging the character of his students. Let me tell you, and by the way, I was a C student at best in high school. But let me tell you about someone who had a big impact on my life. And his name was Mr. DeFilippis. He was my 11th grade earth science teacher. And he said from the first day, here are my expectations of you. And he had a written document and said, I want you to be on time. I want you to do your homework every single day. For you to get an A in this class, you are going to have to study at least a half an hour every single night. And I expect you to be engaged in the labs and not miss the labs. If you're going to be out, I want you to let me know. And he treated us like an adult, but he laid out very, very, very clear expectations. And he goes, if you come in past the bell, you're going to have to wait by the door. Okay. And I don't want to do that, but that's what I do for everybody. So I want to let you know the expectations. I'm going to make you wait by the door, and you're going to sit when I tell you to sit. And from the first day, what happened was a couple kids showed up late, right? He made them wait at the door, right? He did what he said he was going to do, but man, this guy was a communicator. And every single day he checked up on homework. Well, I could tell you a few weeks in, nobody showed up late. Everybody had their homework done, right? I mean, he had us running like soldiers. And I could tell you that I got an A in Mr. D. Philippus' class. He came to me one time and he's like, Todd, I was actually talking to some of the other teachers, and I was actually bragging about you. And they were saying that you're basically a C student, but you get an A in my class. And I knew right away that it was the leadership of Mr. D. Philippus. And I thank him so much, the character that he built. And I'm talking about this, geez, what was I, 17, right? So now 28, 38, I'm talking about this 25 years later, because this guy was a communicator. He had a high standard. He put it in writing. He said it. He held us accountable. And man, this guy was a general. And so today, his leadership is spreading to you. Okay, very, very important. So all these little disciplines, remember, they may seem painful. You may not want to do them. Maybe a lot of these aren't in your natural ability. And eventually you could train others to do this stuff for you, right? That's great, right? You can only maybe deal with one person who will do this with the entire team. But this discipline is going to give you ultimate freedom. And so my goal for you is to be a general, right? Lead your people, expand outside yourself. Your business, your investments will thank you because of it. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I can't wait for your leadership to grow, your people to grow, your bank account to grow, and I will talk to you on the next episode.